Welcome to Backseat Confessions Podcast. Slide into the backseat as we listen to mostly anonymous strangers tell us stories from their lives. I'm a rideshare driver in Atlanta, and the people getting in my car have absolutely no idea I'm going to ask them to share. My commitment to you is to tell at least a snippet of virtually every story recorded in my car in the order they were told to me. My hope is that you laugh, cringe, cry, but mostly connect to these amazing people. You may find a piece of your own story or just feel more connected to the rest of us. Join us, won't you? So, hey, my new friend. This is an adult podcast. Themes and languages are definitely not suitable for everyone. Listener discretion is advised. One of the things I've noticed about this second season of BCP is that I went from 5 or 6 stories per episode in the first season to usually 6 or 7 on this one. Some of that is due to longer episodes, but some of it is also just me getting better about chopping a few of the stories down to a more manageable length. This, for me, is personal growth as a podcaster, because each story is important to me personally, but some stories just need to be trimmed for one reason or another. I hope that you take stock of your life from time to time and evaluate where you are improving. Okay, it's time to get this train a-moving down the tracks. All aboard! We get off to a wild start today with a story from a quite wasted rider telling us about an Uber ride filled with debauchery.
Story number 160. Saturday, February 20th, 2021, 4:55 a.m.
Well, my story is going to be about an Uber driver, actually.
Okay.
And there was myself and 2 other people in the back seats. And we may or may not have started off with smoking a weed pen.
Okay.
And then someone may or may not have had some cocaine.
Oh, wow.
And then it may or may not have been that they didn't pick up another ride.
They may or may not have picked up another ride. What is it?
Because we pulled over, did cocaine, and...
Oh, you mean with the driver, too?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
And the girls were snorting lines off of our dicks. And
Wait, that's for real?
No, like, I swear on your life.
Wow. Wow. That is the craziest party I've ever heard in an Uber. Oh my gosh.
I've been in, me being in the industry, we all had buddies, so
Yep.
You didn't need another ride. You made all your money that you needed with the one ride. But, and end of the story. You could fill in the blanks and everything else with that.
Wow. So does that go down as your wildest Uber ride?
I mean, when's the last time you were in the Uber and the chick snorted a line off your dick?
No, I can honestly say I've never had that particular experience. You've got me beat. So,
and I'm black and Jewish, so I do have you beat.
Ooh. Wow. I'm one of those. I like that.
And so at least you're circumcised.
Well, there you go. That's right. Well, man, thank you so much for sharing your story. I appreciate it. Honestly, nothing about that sounds like much fun to me, personally, but to each his own. Funny how these things work out, but our next rider also tells us a story of an Uber ride that didn't exactly go like she wanted. I do love, though, that she has kept her sense of humor about all of this.
Story number 161. Sunday, February 21st, 2021, 12:14 a.m.
So, in October of last year of 2020, I was in Chicago, me and a group of my cousins, and we requested a Uber.
Right.
We were at the Navy Pier, and
oh yeah, I love that area.
One of my cousins kept stating, "Oh my God, how long is it gonna take us to get to the room? I really have to pee." And the guy stated, "Oh, it's only 15 minutes. Well, lo and behold, we get on the interstate, and it's a freaking highway. Oh, no. And it was already a group of 5 of us, so we're all patched up on each other's lap. And my cousin pissed on me in the Uber car. No. And, yeah, it was really, really bad. And it was cold at the time, so we took the rest of the trip. I was wet, she was wet, and everyone was cold because the Uber driver turned down all of the windows. No.
Oh my God.
So that's a really crazy Uber story.
That is a crazy Uber story. Gosh, it's too bad you're not one of those people that actually enjoys being peed on, because that could have been like a great, right? There's those weirdos in the world who love that. So,
yeah,
man. Well, I assume you and your friend, or you and your friend, I assume you and your cousin are still friends, though?
Oh, yeah, of course. Even though she pissed on me.
Even though she pissed on you, she's still your cousin and you love her. Gosh. Well, that's pretty amazing. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. There's a funny saying that came from my wife's family that if you mention that something is pissing you off, they'll reply, "Better to be pissed off than pissed on," I always say. I pretty much agree with that statement. But sometimes there are just those situations that can't be helped, and you end up being pissed off that you're being pissed on. Anyways, she can laugh about it all now, and that's what really matters. I'm an absolute fan and almost hungry for a steady stream of inspirational and hope-filled stories. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy all the different types of stories shared here, from the sad to the crazy to the scary, really all of them. But I do have a special place in my heart for the inspirational.
Story number 162. Sunday, February 21st, 2021, 12:34 a.m.
The inspiration that'll bring you hope is that when I first moved here to Atlanta, I moved here to Brookhaven.
Yep.
And I was working at dealers and everything, doing my thing, and I had plans of making things happen with music and everything else. And when I first moved here, of course, like anything, is definitely hard.
Yes.
You got to meet people, do things.
That's right.
My first couple, I'll be honest with you, like my first 2 or 3 months here, the money was real low. I moved to Atlanta literally with a black trash bag and a suitcase, and you know, I just wanted to make it happen.
Yes, sir.
And it took some months. It took a little bit of time. I met the right people. You know, I worked on the right projects, and I was able to get 1 or 2 things placed on TV, and then after that, it's just, you know, it's just like just a constant flow. And one thing I can honestly say about working toward anything is that you're gonna have more of those bad days than good days. That's but so it's just like Michael Jordan said, like, he was able to win so much because he lost so much.
That's so true.
So you just always got to take everything as like, as long as you're not beneath the ground, you can still be above the ground.
Yeah.
So that's definitely it, man. Like, when I moved up here, it was very slow motion, but I just stayed with it. And before, you know, time went on and I was able to do different things. So to anybody that's doing anything, definitely stick with it. Like, you know, those lonely nights will pay off, you know.
Absolutely. Okay, so I love your encouragement to stay with it. I have this feeling from what you're talking about that you were also willing to work hard, and you also were networking. I mean, you were doing a lot of things.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So talk to me a little bit about that, if you don't mind, like how important all that is, and maybe what some of your motivations, or how did you stay able to keep grinding?
It's really and truly, I knew when I moved up here I had a goal, and I wanted, and like, you know, like any person, that they want to succeed for themselves and their family and friends and everything. So I definitely stayed with it. And I met somebody here, and they told me one of the smartest things I've ever heard here in Atlanta from somebody. They said, remember, at the end of the day, a lot of this doesn't really matter except for what needs to be done. And I always kept that in the back of my head. And
what does that mean?
So pretty much it's like, you can be wrapped up in a lot of different things.
Okay.
But make sure you just stay on your goal. Like, if you come here to do something, make sure it happens.
Yeah.
Cause you never want to look back 5-10 years later like, oh man, I should have did that.
Right.
So especially here in Atlanta, with it being a place of opportunities and everything,
yes.
Always attack your opportunities. Whenever you can do something, just do it.
Wow. Yeah. Did you have, what gave you the inspiration and sort of that internal knowing that if you were willing to sacrifice, if you were willing to take more hits than wins, that eventually stuff was going to come to you? Like, did that come from a parent, a relative, religion? I mean, like, where did that come from?
It came from a lot of different places. One, it definitely came from my parents, my mother and my father.
Yeah.
I was very close with my dad. My dad passed away when I was 10.
I'm so sorry.
So, he and I were like best friends, and even at a younger age, he always talked to me like an adult. So he always told me like the right thing. So after he passed at 10, I was able to, you know, like apply a lot of that to myself.
Wow.
And, you know, just I just always kept that with me. Just go forward. Like, everything's like, nothing's gonna be perfect always.
No. Yeah.
You just go forward and just make it happen.
Wow, man, that's really powerful. So, like, I cannot imagine losing a parent at 10. That's so freaking hard. But I love that his encouragement and his inspiration, like, you carried that with you. Wow. Well, I don't know what your feelings are about the afterlife, but if you do believe in an afterlife, I feel like your dad's really proud of you, my man.
Yeah, man, definitely. That's something I always just keep in the back of my head, because, you know, like, you always want to, no matter like your age or whatever, like, you know, like, you do want some kind of approval from your parents still as an adult. So now I'm 33.
Okay, wow.
So you know, like, I definitely, like, you know, I always try to make my mom happy, and I know, you know, my pops is definitely, you know, I'm hoping that he's happy with everything I'm doing, because now that I have a child, he's 10 months. So, you know, like, I definitely try to move forward with him.
Yep.
Just like my dad moves forward with me, and just teach him stuff, and just the same thing he told me, just always try, because when you don't try, that's when you don't make it.
Yeah.
So that's what I always did.
That's awesome. Being a new dad, like, how does it feel right now to be a young, you know, a new father? It
is, honestly, that's one of the, like, that's one of the most, like, satisfying things ever. Like, that really validates me.
Okay.
Like, you know, like I really do love my son, love my family. So like being able to do things for them and for him is like perfect. Like he was born during the pandemic last year, of course. So, you know, like it was like April when he was born. So, you know, like this is when like everything first started shutting down and everything. So it gave me, so while everything was closed, I was fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with him.
That's so cool.
And everything. So of course, like we're a little attached to each other, whatever. So, but you know, it's definitely being a new dad is great. Being a dad is great, period.
Yes.
You know, just enjoy every minute, because just like your parents tell you, like, wow, you got so big, like
I know it.
Their children grow fast.
So fast. Yeah. Wow. Well, man, thank you so much for sharing it. I guarantee you somebody listening to this, and I think more than one, is going to be this is going to come at that right time when they're pursuing a dream and they're thinking about giving up, and your words are going to kind of give them that little oomph to like, nope, I'm going to keep grinding. It's going to be worth it. So thank you so much for sharing that, my friend.
Always, man, always.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
We all have dreams, and unless you know you're supposed to let it go, which, by the way, is a real thing, then I really hope you keep going. Do the work, show up, keep grinding, and most of all, keep believing. I know for me personally, sometimes I've had to change what my picture of success was to feel like I'd achieved it. And other times, you just have to keep going against all the odds. We come in towards the end of this next conversation with a mom talking about her tall, athletic son. As a young teenager, well over 6 foot tall, she feels like people judge his apparent lack of scholastic achievements as that he's just not trying hard enough. She claims that because he has dyslexia, he's actually trying 10 times harder than most.
Story number 163. Thursday, February 25th, 2021, 11:30 p.m.
Now I understand what you were trying to say originally. I was trying to make sure that I was clear in my head that basically because your son is a big athletic kid and has all this confidence, people, when they see him struggling in school, don't realize that the reason he's struggling is not because he's lazy and just relying on his size and his athletic ability, but he is struggling because he's got this underlying dyslexia issue. So that makes total sense. Yeah,
it's kind of your normal bias. Like sometimes people in this world think that a popular kid may just be, you know, they may have all the things in this world that are in their favor and happening in a, you know, more positive way.
Right.
And sure, they might be.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't think you can judge just a popular person for what it's worth, right?
Right.
Sometimes it's they may have some things that you're unaware of that are happening in their life too. And so
yeah, it sounds like the real lesson is like, don't look at somebody else and think, oh, they've got it all made and make, right? Or say, well, because they've got this, that, and the other, they've got it all made, when really you might not know their struggles and their underlying issues that aren't maybe right at the surface. Yeah.
I think the lesson is you have to get to know each individual person and understand their perspective, and it may not be what you assume it is, right?
Yeah,
and so sometimes you just have to kind of meet them halfway and learn a bit about their perspective before you judge their life. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing tonight. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great. Loved it. Yeah.
At the end of the day, the life lesson to withhold judgment as much as possible on why people act a certain way or do or don't behave like we think they should is a good one. Like the old saying goes, until you've walked a mile in their shoes. Our next rider shares his story of dealing with his childhood trauma, and he does it with so much vulnerability and honesty. The strength of the human spirit to survive and even begin to thrive when all the cards are stacked against you never ceases to amaze me.
Story number 164. Friday, February 26, 2021, 12:27 a.m.
We had a conversation. We were having a conversation about trauma in our lives and how sometimes it could take us a lifetime to overcome that trauma. Personally, I dealt with trauma from when I was young. It happened around when my parents split up, and that was around when I was in the 3rd grade.
Wow.
And, you know, we were pretty much raised up like, you know, the ideal family. Like, we were good kids. Like, we were very close. Everything, we had the financials in order. We had the good house, the big house, all that stuff. And after, like, my parents I just came home one day, and, like, they didn't even tell none of the kids what happened. I just came home, and the power was off. And my mom told me we were moving.
Wow.
So after that, my dad, he kind of just disappeared from the scene for a while.
Okay.
And in that house, we actually stayed, and we slept there for a good period of time without any power, without any gas. We used to sleep by the fireplace, and that's when I seen my mom kind of just spiral, and she was the person to never even take a drink or drink. She never drunk in her life. She didn't like liquor at all. And she started working at a liquor store, and we used to go there every day after school, and I feel like that's when her alcohol addiction kicked in, when my dad and her split up, and I think she was maybe heartbroken and found a way to cope. And I'm still dealing with that addiction to this day, to the point where we're kids, and we're having to grab the wheel because she's swerving in the road and can't keep control of the car because she's so drunk. To the point that we're banging on the door outside of the house, and she's passed out, and we're out there all night, and it just doesn't stop there, because she doesn't know how to control it, and she gets to the point where she's incoherent, and you literally can't talk to her. And I didn't get her to admit that she had a problem until I was about 21 years old. And that's something as a child I was looking for my whole life. Like, one time she literally told me she was going to kill herself, and that she wanted to kill herself, and I begged her not to, and I told her if she loved me, then you would stop. But it never stopped, and as a kid I took that as, dang, my love isn't enough to stop you from this problem. But as I got older, I realized that we all have our own demons, and sometimes it's just out of your own control. That it's not that maybe she didn't love me or none of that. It's just she could not stop it herself if she wanted to.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's just things, insight you get as you get older and you start to have kids, because I have a kid now, and I try to make sure he doesn't grow up with any trauma.
Yeah.
But I know that's not even realistic to say.
Right, yeah. Sadly.
Yeah, it's not realistic to say they're going to grow up with no trauma, because now I'm dealing with I don't see him as often as I would like.
Yeah.
And he sometimes when I leave him, he kind of freaks out to the point that like he thinks I'm not going to come back or he's not going to see me.
Sweet buddy.
So that kind of, and I kind of see the cycle repeat itself, and it's like I realize, dang, parents are not perfect. They make mistakes. I'm making mistakes, and I'm not even trying to make mistakes. So, but, and I would say the trauma goes, and I just grew up in a lot of like fear. Fear to leave the house. Fear like as soon as you step out, something bad is going to happen.
Yeah.
Fear of the world is going to end or something like that one day. Just fear of like everything. And it's like they tried to shelter us from the world.
Yeah.
But it was like you can't. We have to be in the world, so you can't guard it from us forever. And that mentality kind of caused, like, to the point where my dad, he didn't go to college because he was told not to, because it was a waste of time, because he felt like the world was going to end by then.
Oh, yeah. I have my own crazy background with people that believe that the world was coming to an end. And, I still have family members that think that, in the next 10 years it's all over or whatever.
Then that was when he was a kid, and now he's 52. So it's 50-something years later.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't live like that.
No.
You can't live waiting for the end.
You can't build. You honestly cannot build for the future. You cannot leave proper legacy if you don't believe that there is a future, or
that if you don't believe that you can positively change the future.
That's right.
If you just believe that we're doomed from the start.
That's right. Yep.
Then it's like you're already done sealed your fate.
Dude, that's 100% true.
Yeah. So you have to. That's why I try to project positivity if I can, but in my environment it's kind of hard because I just get met with that every time.
Right.
And even when I tell them about my dreams and my aspirations, what I want to do, it's like it's not seen as realistic or I can attain those things. But I learned through my life that you are the driver, we are creators. Just like they say God made us in his image. Yeah. He is a creator. Totally. And he made us to create. When we give birth, we are creating another life. Yeah. When we create, we can create music. We can create buildings, roads, schools. We just create and expand in this world that we live in. So when you can tap into that and take advantage of that, then you'll see that the world is your oyster. And you can do whatever you please. Anything is obtainable just based on how bad you're willing to pursue it. Yep. No matter when everything is telling you no, everything is looking dark and gloomy. If you're going to keep pushing, if you're going to keep going, if you're going to keep picking yourself up. And that's what my life, I feel like all that trauma and hurt and disappointment and fear, it's just been preparing me for greatness. Yeah. And for the road that I will face ahead. And it made me tough. It made me strong. So I don't look at it as weakness no more or trauma or something to be ashamed of. It's just like, I'm strong because of it. Yeah. So, man. Yeah, that's pretty much
that's
what I have to say on that topic.
No, I love it. I love what you believe about creativity. I believe the same exact thing. I think that we are created to create.
I love meeting creatives and people who can, they can share a similar point of view of the world.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I love your view on creativity. I think it's maybe the most godlike thing about us as human beings. I love your positivity. Whenever I meet people with a really negative worldview and they think that, they believe in a negative end, not that necessarily I'm going to be able to change their mind, but I try to at least introduce them to the idea that maybe it's not going to end that badly. And
try to show them, because they use it in their lives, the creative process every day, whether they know it or not. It's just if you're conscious of it or not.
That's right. Conscious. In some way, if you believe that everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket, there will be a negative outflow of your life in some way, shape, or form. It has to be. 100% agree with that. And then I love too that your take on basically pain and trauma, that with dedication and grit, like you're going to turn it into something good and something beautiful. So, man, dude, this was really this was powerful, man. Your story, I guarantee you, your story is going to touch people. I mean, I was moved the entire time you spoke. You're one of those people that I believe that as you get older and as you continue to share your story in different ways, there are going to be other people that have come from hard backgrounds that are going to find life and hope through your story. So,
I hope so. That'll be one of my missions in life, to inspire people, to show you that you can do it too.
Yeah.
And that's really all I want to do.
Yep, I love it. No, I think that is exactly what you're doing right now. And yeah, man, I'm honored. Thank you so much for sharing with me tonight. I really,
thank you
really
for your time, bro.
Yeah,
this is therapeutic for me.
Yeah, I felt like that was weird. Like I felt like, I was like, this feels like a therapy session for both of us in a way. But yeah, beautiful. All right, thank you.
All right, appreciate you.
I love that ultimately he took us beyond just the trauma and to the place where he is fighting to dream and stay positive. I'm believing in this young man's journey to wholeness, and I also believe that he is going to be a light of hope to his family and to many others around him. Our next rider also shares about loss. Hers is very immediate, but she is already finding the rays of hope that are breaking through the pain.
Story number 165. Friday, February 26, 2021, 1:37 a.m.
So I would just like to say how awesome teenagers are, because I am a high school teacher.
Oh, wow.
And I just lost a friend a few days ago. And
So sorry.
I was feeling very guilty about like missing school and not being there for them. And of course they like made it up to me in the utmost way that they possibly could. Like, not only did they send me messages telling me that they were sorry, but I called a coworker this evening because I was going to call out again tomorrow just because I needed another day to like collect my thoughts. And apparently one of my classes has like a surprise for me when I get back.
Aww.
And it just reminds me that like not only are people good, but like young people are good, and like those are the people that are changing our world. And like that's why I want to go to work every day, and like I'm counting on them to make this world a better place. And you can't replace that reward with any type of monetary value in terms of like my job and the pay that I get. Like, how do you quit a job that's so valuable and so rewarding, that you get so many positive messages from people that are so young, that are just amazing. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I'm rambling, but
no, it's so good. First of all, obviously, you are called to be a teacher, just your passion for it, and so these kids are lucky to have you. Secondly, nothing to do with absolutely anything, but you look like you're a teenager yourself, so that's got to be a fun sort of thing for you to like be walking around in a school and you're surrounded by people that some of them I guarantee look older than you. So,
yes.
But on a more serious note, I am so sorry about your friend. But also I love what you're saying, just like how these kids, when it counts, they were there for you, and yeah, man, that's
especially when they're going through so many things themselves too. And like I had kids even reach out to me and saying that they've lost a friend, and you know, these are 16, and I've lost students too, and like it just I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not good on a microphone.
What's that?
I don't know about this microphone.
Well,
but I just wanted to say that teenagers are the best.
Yeah. And
they continue to surprise me, and they continue to amaze me, and I don't even care how much money I send them because they are well worth it.
Wow. Well, thank you to the teenagers, and thank you for just being who you are and for doing what you're so obviously like called to do. Like that's,
thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. Bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Truly.
I don't know if that was like what you were looking for.
I love her gratitude for all the support she was being given by her students, and I love her point of view on the rising generation. Sometimes it can feel like we're being inundated by messages telling us just how bad the upcoming generation is doing. But stories like this one remind us that it's just not true. Well, it seems that hard times are one of the prominent themes for this journey we're on today. And that is true for our final ride this evening. This young lady is processing a very fresh breakup of a multi-year relationship, and that's no easy thing for the heart to handle.
Story number 166. Friday, February 26, 2021, 2:03 a.m.
So my story is I recently went through a very shitty breakup.
Okay. Wow.
Started with, it's a long distance relationship.
And those are always so tough.
And they're already shitty, right?
Right, yeah.
But it was also an on and off relationship beforehand.
Okay.
Known him for 7 years.
Oh, okay.
Always took him back.
Mm-hmm.
He moved out to Colorado. I would always go visit him. And then he decided he wanted to be with me again. So I said, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And so we had this relationship, and it was working throughout 2020, quarantine, whatever. I was bored. So right. I think that's why I said yes.
Right. It was better than nothing.
It's better than nothing.
Uh-huh.
So we started dating again and again. And recently, he started being a little weird.
Okay.
I went out for New Year's for 2021. Mm-hmm. He picked a fight. I was like, what's going on here? And then that's beside the point. Recently, about a week and a half ago, he went MIA for about 24 hours, wasn't answering any phone calls, any text messages. And then he butt dialed me.
Ooh.
I listened to the butt dial for 3 minutes. Him and another girl together.
Oh, delightful.
Yeah, it's great. They went out of town to Aspen. They were in the car getting ready to leave Aspen. I heard the whole conversation, everything.
Yeah.
So I listened. And then he pulled his phone out, hung up on me, and I called back several times. He never answered. And then he calls back 5 hours later and he's like, it's not what you think. And like, every fucking woman has heard, it's not what you think.
Of course, yeah. No,
it is what I think. It's totally what I think.
Right,
and, so for a week, this Friday, I was supposed to go to Colorado to visit him.
and I was gonna still go.
Yeah.
Last Friday, I was like, hey, a friend of mine is gonna be in Vail. Can we have dinner? And he was like, I'm gonna be working all weekend. I was like, okay, you didn't tell me that 2 months ago. So I was like, should I cancel my trip? He was like, yeah.
Wow.
So I canceled my trip, book it for Miami, and then 2 days later, his Instagram story, he's in a full-ass relationship.
Oh my gosh. What a
So,
delightful young man he
Terrible
is.
breakup, right?
Yeah, I'm so sorry, girl.
Yeah, that was my breakup story. So now I'm going to Miami tomorrow.
Well, and bullet dodged on continuing on with him. I hope this is your last time with him.
Yeah, I hope so too. It is 100%. And I'm not going to Colorado ever again. Fuck that place.
Oh no, Colorado's freaking amazing.
I do love
Come
Colorado.
on. Yeah,
though.
don't let one douchebag ruin a stunningly beautiful state.
True,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
true.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve that honor.
I'm going to stay away from Vail then.
Well, okay, Vail is gorgeous, but
Vail is gorgeous.
and you know what? Your broken heart is going to mend. I promise you. There's way better guys out there. You deserve way better guy.
I
And yeah, and eventually you can go to Vail if you want to, and he can be there or not be there. All right, not to be digging into your
give
business.
me all the questions.
Well, I'm just, this is Backseat Confessions. I pulled up where I got you from, and I thought you said something about just leaving your boyfriend's house.
Yeah,
what's
so
going on
I don't
there?
know you. So
No, yeah, this is
a little bit of a white lie, but this is definitely someone I've been interested in so long distance relationship. This is someone who's been interested in me.
Okay. Yep.
Someone who I've had, back in my mind.
Yep.
Who I've also been interested in.
Nice.
And we went out on a date tonight.
How'd it go? Tell us the deets.
It was excellent.
Really?
I mean, he's definitely my type. He's someone I've been thinking about.
Okay.
I've clearly been on his mind.
Yeah.
But, most of tonight was laying out the deets of what I just went through.
Okay. Yeah.
So, a little weird, but he
important.
was super understanding, and
you probably
honestly, it was probably as ideal as it could be.
That's awesome. You have to tell me one more time. How long have you known this gentleman?
I've known him for roughly over 2 years.
Okay, so
we're in the same industry. I was a bartender in Buckhead. He's in the industry, so just Buckhead life.
Well, and then from what I've heard from people that are in that industry, it's a pretty tight-knit industry anyways.
Pretty tight-knit. Everyone knows everyone,
yeah. Well, that's very hopeful. So you're going to go stick your toes in the sand in Miami, and there's this glimmer of potential new boyfriend material, maybe possibly.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
So this,
I hope it's not like a one date kind of thing. I hope when I get back from Miami, he wants to take me out. He definitely told me, he was like, well, let's reach out after Miami. I was like, of course. And he knows I'm going to Miami to just kind of unleash a bit.
Yep.
It's definitely, because this flight was supposed to be to Colorado.
Yep.
I did not get my refund, so I only had a voucher. So I was like, Miami it is.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I hope you have just an amazing time.
Thank you.
You get to, I don't know, shake it off a little bit. I know you're still gonna. If you've known someone for 7 years and you've been romantically involved, that's gonna leave a mark. Yeah, for sure, and as it absolutely should. But I hope you get a little reprieve, and then this is interesting. Hopefully this guy interest turns out to be something. That'd be pretty cool.
I hope so. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing, Missy.
Absolutely.
I will say that if you have to be dealing with a broken heart due to a breakup, then it seems like at least part of the prescribed antidote should be to settle into a beach somewhere just for a minute and then come back to a friend who might end up being a love interest. Miss C, I personally think you're gonna be okay. While today's ride had the normal range of stories and subject matter, And I'm especially grateful for the moments of levity with the lady sharing about getting peed on in an Uber. These last 3 stories have been, of course, about loss. I know myself and family have been through a lot, and I would imagine most of you listening have your own stories of pain and suffering. Sharing these stories with each other helps us to know that we're not facing struggle all alone, that it's part of the human condition, and that life ultimately includes heartache and trauma. But I'm also super encouraged that in those last 3 stories, there are glimmers of hope. Signs that things will not always be the way they've been, especially as we start to make new and better decisions for ourselves. And that's my prayer for all of us. Never let go of hope. And know that if you don't give up, you do not have to be a prisoner to your past, to the things you've done, or things that have been done to you. Shalom, my friends. This is what happens when you are a rideshare driver in Atlanta and ask people for their stories. These weren't handpicked people with great stories. They just happened to get in my car and be gracious enough to share with all of us. And who knows, maybe someday you'll be in Atlanta and need to grab a rideshare and end up telling the rest of us the next great story on BCP. I'd actually encourage you to, every so often, just ask a stranger to share a story from their life. You never know what you might learn. I believe that our stories are powerful. They can make you laugh, cringe, cry, or even get you to think or feel differently. Our stories can truly make this world a little bit better place. So please, subscribe, rate, and listen to this podcast and share it with as many adults as possible. It would mean so much to me. First and foremost, I want to thank the incredible writers who trusted me with your stories. You're my heroes. Thanks also to all the people in the background who have believed in this project/dream. All of the music on this podcast was found on pixabay.com, and it was free, which is an amazing gift when you're starting a podcast on a shoestring budget.